are more than 1 billion cars in this world of ours. From electric gliders to power sliders. And pretty much everything in between. I'm Tiff Needell.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Whoa.
And with my good friend Paul Woodman.
Eat my dirt, Needell.
Plus a few fellow car lovers. We're on a mission to bring you the fastest, loudest, most exclusive cars on the planet. Oh, and this lot too. From high peaks to millionaires' retreats, our quest has taken us far and wide. Stopping at nothing to bring you the ultimate automotive experiences. On the road today, we put the BMW X7 up against the daddy of all luxury SUVs, the Range Rover.
This is absolutely ridiculous. One more splash.
Vicky Piria and I check out the Lamborghini Huracan Evo on the roads of Italy.
How is it sitting over there?
Sid North drives the Model T of the 21st century.
Yeah, this does feel like the future.
And Paul and I are in a pair of long-legged V12 GTs in search of a taste of Italy.
No, this is in the script.
But first, it's the fast Ford we've all been waiting for. 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds. A top speed of 216 miles an hour. Descended from a legendary motorsport battle. This is the Ford GT. Brand new, it costs around $450,000. And if you fancy one, well, you'll have to join the queue, along with 7,000 other people on the waiting list. Ford will only make 1,000 or so of these GTs, so it's no wonder second-hand cars are going for well over $1 million, twice the original asking price.
This, of course, is the third Ford GT, built to celebrate 50 years since the company's first outright win at Le Mans in 1966 with the original Ford GT. That was a car built with one thing in mind, to beat Ferrari at Le Mans, after the Italians had rebuffed Ford's proposals to buy the company.
The story is iconic in the world of motorsport. Ford enlisted the help of British constructors Lola to design and build a race car to break Ferrari's dominance in European sports car racing. Named the GT40, it made its debut in 1964 and, after 2 failed attempts, succeeded in beating Ferrari at Le Mans in 1966 with a commanding 1-2-3 victory. Not only that, but it maintained its winning streak, taking first place for the next 3 years, as well as conquering sports car races across the world.
This latest Ford GT takes us back to where we started. A car designed primarily to race, to win again at Le Mans.
It was officially unveiled back in 2016, just in time for that year's 24-hour race, exactly half a century after its famous first victory. But it took a bit longer for street-legal cars to hit the road. In a bid to make this new car as successful on the track as the original GT, Ford took a no-holds-barred approach to engineering it.
Massive 4-pot carbon ceramic brakes do the stopping, whilst firm race-bred suspension takes care of the cornering. And there are certainly very few luxuries in this bare, race-prepared car. In fact, there's not even a glove box, nowhere to store anything. The lightweight theme continues with the build of the car. It's got a carbon fibre monocoque, aluminium subframes front and rear, carbon fibre bodywork. Mind you, it still weighs just over 1,500 kilograms.
The GT raised quite a few eyebrows when it was launched, including inside Ford, as the car was developed in complete secrecy by a tiny team of just 12 people. Even more surprising was the fact that they ditched the usual all-American V8 seen in the previous 2 generations of Ford GT and replaced it with a 3.5-litre V6.
But there was method to their madness, because this V6 engine is lighter for racing purposes, and it also utilises Ford's EcoBoost turbocharging system, which is used on their road cars. And as the famous phrase goes, win on a Sunday, sell on a Monday. Okay, I have to admit the sound behind me doesn't really sound anything like as good as that throbbing pulse of a V8. But then again, any engine that brings me 655 horsepower ticks my boxes. The brakes are so impressive. The first thing you notice, the brake, touch that brake pedal, boom, snap, it stops. It's not anything like as stiff or as uncomfortable as I thought it would be. Sits very flat. The steering is just instant. It doesn't get a huge amount of feedback. I don't feel it kicking that much. But I feel very connected with the roads with the seat of my pants. I've actually got a sport mode. I bring in the anti-lag. I think I might try that a little bit for fun. Ooh. Wow, that is a big change. So normal mode doesn't have the anti-lag in, so you haven't got the turbo spooled up all the time to keep the boost ready. Now, if I lift off, boom, back on the throttle, boom. The power's still there. Okay, so this car might not provide all the comforts you want from a road car, but it's got everything you'd want from a car, perhaps not for the road, but intended for a racetrack.
And there's a good reason why this car feels so at home on the circuit. Usually, when a car maker wants to go racing, they take one of their regular road cars, throw out all the comfy bits, beef up the performance, and tweak it to meet racing rules. For the GT, though, Ford did things the other way around. This thing was designed as a race car first, and only later adapted for the road.
That race car ethos can be seen from the outside of the car as well. Wherever you look, there are clever ducts and intakes channeling the air over the car to help keep it pinned to the road. When form follows function, it can lead to some rather odd-looking shapes. But here, it's spectacular. The amount of sculpture on the car is incredible, but it's all there for a good reason. Take these rear buttresses, for example. They not only help with the aerodynamics, they also stiffen the body, and these side intakes channel air through the bodywork and into the engine. And when you do get yourself on a racetrack, as I have now, that no-nonsense, uncompromising attitude is even reflected in the way the Ford GT switches to race mode. No gentle lowering of the suspension or raising of the rear wing with this.
Just a few buttons and switches, and it's ready.
It's a bit different than being on the roads. Now I can really light up. Whoa! Oh my goodness, this is what this Ford GT was bred for. Being on a track. I don't care whether it's a V6, a V8 or a V12, as long as I've got 650 horsepower to play with. It sits very flat. Instant gear changes, flicking. It just wants to understand a little bit, but it's so well balanced. It hardly dives at all under braking. Look through the corner, pick up the line. Of course, you can get rid of that understeer by giving a bit of a flick, punch the throttle, and then you can then you can get it sideways. I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you too much at the moment because this is just all action around this tight circuit. Boom! Flick it, punch the throttle. Oh, too much. Oh!
Here, in its natural habitat on the track, the GT is nothing short of incredible. It powers down the straights with ease, stops like you can't believe, and corners with precision. It's brutal and savage, and most of all, invigorating.
Oh! I haven't really got enough time to tell you how much fun I'm having because I'm a bit busy. Hopefully you can see how much fun I'm having in a Ford GT. Oh, what a machine! 140, 150 miles an hour. Oh, everyone needs to drive a Ford GT on one day of their lives. This is just great.
Exactly 50 years after their first victory, Ford took this latest generation of GT to Le Mans and repeated history, beating Ferrari and winning their class. In so doing, they entered another chapter in Ford's Le Mans story, a special legacy for a very special car. Meet the BMW X7. You can't miss it, can you? 2.5 tons, 7 seats, and a pair of wrought iron gates on the front. The biggest BMW ever, and arguably the most in your face. It's here to take on the SUV elite. And there's nothing more elite than a Range Rover, a proper aristo car, one for the upper crust. Both are the size of buildings, but which is best? The Bavarian Castle or Buckingham Palace? To find out, we've taken a trip to the seaside.
Tiff, today we're on the beach with two heavyweight SUVs. They're both around 2.5 tons and they're both around £100,000.
The king of SUVs, the Range Rover, against one of a long list of challengers, the BMW X7.
And we're on no ordinary beach. This is Pendine Sands. It's famous for land speed records, which gives me an idea.
Oh, no. You want to do a drag race?
Of course I do. You happy with that for once?
I tell you what, actually, because these off-roaders are famous for their low-ratio gearbox, let's do a low-ratio drag race.
I like that idea.
Which car would you like me in?
Well, that's been around quite some time, as have you, so I think you should go in that. I'm going to go in this.
I'm happy.
I'm happy as well.
Apart from the insult.
As we lined up to race on this famous stretch of sand, I was blissfully unaware of what Paul had up his sleeve.
Right, it's drag race time. We've both got turbo diesels. I've got a 4-litre with 339 horsepower, and we'll pop it into low range. We're ready to grip and go and take the smile off his face.
This is going to be the most one-sided drag race in the history of drag races. He's not going to be very happy. Mind you, he's never very happy.
Ready in 3, 2, 1, go.
Whoa!
Eat my dirt, Nidal!
Well, he's disappeared.
Oh, he hates losing so much.
I've got to 52 miles an hour and it won't go any faster. It won't. Low ratio, low ratio. Whose idea was that?
What happened, Tiff?
Well, like you just left me off the line there.
Because you're in low gear ratio. I forgot to tell you, this doesn't have a low gear ratio.
Get in the passenger. Let's go where these cars are going to spend most of their time, on the road.
Honestly, such a cheat. But whatever, the BMW was always going to win that one. That's what 4 turbochargers and 400 horsepower will do for you. But enough of all this. Let's see what they're like in the real world, shall we?
Well, this is the 4th generation Range Rover now. And it all began, back in 1970, And there's been a new generation every 7 years. This one came in 2012, which means there's a new one coming very soon. So we mustn't criticise it too much. I mean, outdated, but it doesn't feel outdated. No.
I'm not a massive fan of all this haptic feedback touch stuff, and I know you're not either.
No, the bouncy. I mean, nice steering wheel, I like a thinner steering wheel. It's got quite nice little thumb pads here for menus, which look attractive. But once you start trying to change the radio, what I don't like is you've got to find the buttons for the channels and then not looking away from them. Then I've got to go favourite.
For once, I agree with you, I have to say.
I've got to change my station, and I've hit the wrong one, and then I'm looking up the road. I don't like that touchscreen.
It hasn't always been so high-tech. Early Range Rovers actually had a plastic hosed-down interior. But with every new model came another layer of luxury and an even bigger price tag. This one, with its stealthy black pack, privacy glass and big wheels, cost just under £100,000. So it could do posh, but can it do corners?
Corner here, Tim.
It's heavy. I mean, so I've got thumpy through. I mean, it's good this is bit, but it does pitch.
It's too wallowy for me. I would prefer it to be just that little bit flatter.
You're a Range Rover sport man. I can see you there with a big V8 supercharged pumping out.
I'm sure they can do that with the electronic suspension, just to keep it that little bit flatter, just a bit more enjoyable to drive. And that's, I think, for me, the only thing that lets us down. It's not an enjoyable car to drive. It's a beautiful car and a very prestigious car.
Well, it's quality. You can't get away from it.
It is a quality vehicle, Tiff. It's a quality car, but it's not fun.
Right, let's go back to the beach then and see what the BMW is like.
Okay, I'm driving.
But before we get back on the road, there's something we need to talk about. And it's stuck to the front of the BMW.
Of course, the big talking point when this XM was launched was the grille, which everyone said was all huge and ugly, but this is the biggest BMW ever made, and it's...
I don't think it looks bad at all. The problem is, it's the evolution. The X5 came out in 2001, tiny little grille, and this just has evolved into a very nice looking car.
Meanwhile, this Range Rover has got, what is it, the black pack?
Exactly.
To a grille, so I've got a black grille and black... I'm not sure I want that on a Range Rover. Even the gills are black. I mean, look, if I've got a Range Rover, I want my gills to be silver.
You can have them silver if you want. You can choose how you want it. But then, talking of black, you've got these black wheels which do look fantastic, but they're 21-inch though. I like the black wheels, but they need to be 22-inch, like the BMW.
Between frames?
Oh yeah, don't you want to know? What about the rear end? The practicality of these cars?
Boot space. I always love a bit of a research. Open one touch.
Open one touch.
Open two touch.
So it's not one touch, it's two touch. Why did you say one touch?
No, I had one. Little seat.
I got a seat as well.
Yeah. Do you want a step to get up on it, Paul?
You cheeky monkey. I can actually lower mine if I want to. Can you lower that?
I don't need to.
Yeah, see, I got on.
This is what it's all about, isn't it? Hunting, fishing, going to the races with your picnic sat beside you.
Very nice.
Sadly, we don't have time to sit around on the beach all day. So let's get back to business in the BMW.
So Tiff, welcome to the future.
You have to say it is a very impressive interior, isn't it? Makes the Range Rover look as dated as sadly it is. But there's going to be a new one coming soon.
So how much this car, Tiff?
It starts a lot less than the Range Rover, well, £85,000, but then you have to have apparently the two-tone merino leather, which is £5,000, which takes you to £90,000, and then there is about £17,000 worth of extras on this particular car.
What are the big ones?
All visibility package 1,300, technological package 2,700, premium package 2,700. So many little things like this bling crystal, which I don't really like. This gear knob all reflecting. Oh, there's a sheep in the way. Good brakes on this BMW.
Very good. Good feel as well, by the way.
And that's £500 for a bit of bling crystal. So it all ends up being £107,000.
So a lot more expensive than Range Rover.
Yeah. And before going any further, I just want to go back to that drag race, because A, you didn't tell me you haven't got a low range show, and B, of course, I wasn't thinking that this quad turbo 3 litre. It's got 400 horsepower. What's that?
And it's a little bit lighter.
Range Rover, you got 330. This is nearly 2 seconds quicker to 62. 5.4 seconds as opposed to 7.3. So it certainly outperforms the
So
Range Rover.
I avoided humiliating you even more by doing the low range. It was your idea anyway for the low range.
I know, I just thought off-road we should be in low range.
Now look at
corner.
I was just going to say, we got a nice little series of corners.
Very
Push it through.
firm.
It's so much flatter than the Range Rover.
Yeah,
so
that's
much
true.
flatter, and it doesn't look as big as the Range Rover. It's quite a big car to drive, but it doesn't feel like it around the corners. It hides it very well. Ah, that's so much flatter, so much stiffer than the Range Rover. Oh, as we go for a big bump.
So the BMW is a better driver's car. But when the road runs out, it's a different story. The Range Rover, of course, is one of the most capable off-roaders in the world. Can the X7 get anywhere near it? To find out, I've arranged a short test, because I know how much my colleague loves getting his tyres dirty.
What are we doing? Where are we going?
Oh.
Tiff, absolutely nobody ever is going to do this in these cars. I'm not going down there in this.
Of course, he's wrong. This is exactly where Sir would take his Range Rover on a Saturday morning with a boot full of Labradors and shotguns.
I don't like the look of this.
I can only see the sky, Paul. I can only see the sky.
I'm never, ever going to listen to one of your ideas ever again.
I'm afraid there's a bit of water up ahead. I'm not sure how deep it is, but if the Range Rover can get through, I presume so can the BMW.
Oh, this is just ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Oh, he's not joking with the water. Oh, my goodness.
It's not deep at all. Go on, son.
Oh.
One more splash.
Oh, for goodness sake. That's enough of that. I'm not doing
You
any
love
more
off-roading. You love it.
Oh, I can't stand it. That was so ridiculously silly. Don't ever ask me to do that again, Mr. Nadell.
But at least we've proved that whilst the BMW might not be able to follow the Range Rover through the jungles of Borneo, it's a good enough off-roader for, occasional use.
Nobody's going to do that. Look, I've got my trousers dirty. I'll show you why. Because on
mine
this
are clean,
car,
mine are fine.
on this car, the door doesn't cover the sill. Yet the Range Rover, which shows it's more suited for off-roading, they think about these sort of things. So,
God, the little things you think of.
well, you never know.
However, although the Ranger, I'm sure, is still king off-road, we were both very impressed with that BMW on the road. The infotainment system, very
Absolutely
up to date
brilliant.
and roaring ahead.
But which one are you going to pick? Which one are you going to take home?
Well, impressive though the BMW is, the fact remains that captains of industry, celebrities, royalty drive Range Rovers. And there's a new one coming out very soon. So I think I'll have to wait till then till I make my final judgment.
The next generation of that could be quite impressive, but that BMW is so impressive. I'll tell you one thing though, don't ever ask me to go off-roading
like
with you.
off-road?
Oh, I can't
What's wrong
stand
with
it.
off-roading?
I can't stand it, especially in
bit
those
of fun.
cars. No, it's too slow. I want to go
For goodness
fast.
sake, just get your trousers got a little bit muddy. Welcome to the famous Emilia-Romagna region of Italy, home to the likes of Ferrari, Pagani, and of course Lamborghini. And we're here to put this latest Huracan Evo through its paces, a car they claim will amplify the everyday Huracan driving experience. Well, to decide whether or not they've succeeded, we've got our favourite Italian racing driver, Vicky, to help me sort it out.
Hi, Steph. Welcome to Italia.
So first, we're going to a little town, shall we? A little town driving. This is a bit narrow, Vicky. Are you sure? You brought me down here.
Well, this is for an everyday
What?
experience.
Do Italians always just walk across the road?
Well, I mean, this is the Italian way of parking. So park where there's space, not where you're not supposed to. And look, it can go through. What's wrong with the Italian style of parking?
Are we comfortable with our ride quality? This is soft now.
Okay.
Everything's shaking a bit.
Well, it's going to shake even on a Fiat Panda, isn't it?
Can I go straight ahead here, do you think? It looks a bit...
Yeah, go straight on.
There's a priest on a bicycle, there's a man with a trumpet and an accordion. Oh, that's bumpy there. Oh!
The medieval maze of back streets was straight out of a history book. But luckily for us, inside the Lambo, things were much more futuristic.
Now, one thing Lamborghini said they've improved is the cabin connectivity for the young market like you. So they got this fancy 8.4 inch...
Infotainment.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So I think, you know, you can move your fingers up and... Oh, there! Look, I made it have volume up with 2 fingers.
Just look at the road, please.
Well, that's me told. But with this being an Italian city, there were plenty of other distractions.
Have you seen anything you want to buy in the shops yet?
Well, I think it's market day, isn't it?
Okay, so we get some cheap bargains.
I don't know. Would you like a panini?
Oh, I love paninis.
Yeah, so you don't miss your bacon sandwich here in Italy.
Oh, well, I do miss my bacon sandwich, but a panini is probably as good, maybe not better, and that's sacrilege to say as an Englishman, that a panini is actually...
And so, with that settled, it was time to find somewhere for a quick espresso, leaving the Lambo parked safely out of harm's way.
That design now, the basic Huracan, is what, 5 years old? Do you think the shape is not getting a bit dated?
No. Not at all. I mean, think about the Gallardo.
Yeah.
I mean, the Gallardo looked amazing all the years it was around. And I think it's pretty much the same here with the Huracan. I mean, it looks really aggressive, but at the same time, it's simple. And that's why it's an everlasting shape.
So this is discreet but flashy.
Yes.
The perfect balance.
Just enough.
OK, then we approve of the styling, but more importantly about its new Evo is the way it handles on the road. So I think we should head for the hills, test it out on some real windy roads.
Sounds great.
Good. Yeah, but I'll be doing the driving, obviously. Into the hills, the glorious,
Beautiful.
wonderful roads where we can push this Huracan a bit more. Because what they've done is, right, they've brought rear-wheel steering and torque vectoring to the Huracan for the first time, and they combine that with the existing dynamic steering, stability control, and those clever magnetic shock absorbers which can go hard and soft.
Of course.
And they've called this their I just got to cheat a bit here and read. They've called it the Lamborghini Dinamica Veicolo Integrata system.
It's not quite that. So first of all, it's Lamborghini with an R.
Okay.
Lamborghini Dinamica Veicolo Integrata.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, whatever. But yes, of course, this is something really ideal, especially for these twisty roads.
Well, that's the idea, because with the four-wheel drive, the Huracan was famous when you pushed on it, just understeers, pushes wide. So give it a bit of bead. Yeah, okay, treat me gently, just build up gently, will you know?
It's just so immediate. I mean, it doesn't have a turbo, but you're not missing it here for sure. Oh, I love this chicane. See, this is where you feel the rear wheel steering work. How is it sitting over there?
Yeah, it's lovely. I'm getting used to your, positive driving, Vicky. I'm not worried at all. It could be more comfortable if it wasn't driven quite so fast. We had all these tight corners.
What are you saying about my driving?
Nothing, Vicky, nothing. But being one of the stars of the new W Series, I knew I was in safe hands.
You don't feel the car lean in the corners because it's got this rear wheel steering that really helps it rotate quicker.
Rotate, that's a very modern word. You call
Rotate.
it modern racing drivers. I call it turn in. Old-fashioned racing drivers turn in.
The car, the faster it rotates in, the faster you go.
Give it some beans then. Wow. Yeah, all right, that was enough.
Time, I think, for a little breather and some reflection.
So, Vicky, the big question, does this new Evo version amplify the everyday driving experience of the Huracan?
Well, Tiff, it's hard to be that specific, but I think it handled quite well here in the mountain
Through the
roads.
streets.
Also?
I thought it was that. I thought it was great.
Yeah, you felt a bit wide, but...
Yeah, but it is wide, and the steering wheel's on the wrong side. But did this LD-VI combination thing work?
Well, I think it worked perfectly. I mean, the rear wheel steering really helped me in the little hairpins and the sound.
So we're going to give it a tick, are we? I mean, it's good. I like the colour.
Sure, and it stands out with the sun here. I mean, look at it.
But I think I'll drive home, really. I mean, the hairpin and the bumps.
I'm kind of tired now, but
I'm
you
glad
can go
you're
a bit
tired.
on-
I'm exhausted.
It's 10 years now since Nissan first launched this, the Leaf. On the outside, it's a pretty unremarkable hatchback, the sort of thing your nan would drive to the bingo. But hang on a minute, because despite that, the Leaf was arguably the most pioneering car since the Ford Model T.
Now, underneath this rather boring bodywork lies a secret. Batteries and electrical gubbins. This was all new stuff at the time, and even though Tesla actually did make electric vehicles, they were very expensive, and this was very affordable. This offered an EV experience to the masses.
Since 2010, they've sold over 450,000 of these things all over the world. That made it the best-selling electric car of the decade. In other words, the Leaf did for electric cars what the Model T did for combustion cars over a century ago. Almost overnight, the Leaf made EVs an everyday prospect for everyday people, except the world wasn't quite ready for it.
Back when this car was launched, charging infrastructure wasn't quite ready. Fast forward 10 years though, things have changed, and so has the Leaf. It's great for zapping around town. Obviously, like all electric cars, it's quick off the mark because you've got instant torque. It's quiet, it's smooth, it's comfortable. You're not going to annoy the neighbours because it doesn't make any noise. You've even got this one pedal feature, which means that you don't even have to touch the brakes at all. The car just drags itself to a halt, and plus you regenerate some of that kinetic energy and it can give you a little bit more range. Yeah, this does feel like the future.
There are two battery sizes to choose from, a 40 kWh battery with a range of 168 miles and a starting price of around £26,000 after the UK government grant, or a beefier 62 kWh battery with a range of 239 miles, but that will set you back over £30,000.
Well, we know that EVs are good around town, but once you start getting it onto a B road, for example, they start to get out of their comfort zone. With this new Leaf, however, with the 217 horsepower output through the front wheels, it's actually somewhat fun to drive.
Top speed is 97 miles per hour, but even on roads like this, I can tell you it has no problem keeping up. But I know what you're thinking. What about charging? Well, there are now 30,000 public chargers at 10,000 locations in the UK. Most are in towns, cities and services, but some are a little more remote.
Okay, this isn't quite what I was expecting. But it just goes to show that even in rural areas like Somerset, it's easy to find charging points nowadays.
And some, like this one, are actually free to use, as long as you're a paying guest or just ask very nicely.
Plugging it in is easy, but it's not like a petrol station where you just fill up with some petrol, pay and then leave. There are many different providers out there with different tariffs, different membership cards and a phone app that allows you to charge these things. Okay, so that's charging. What do I do?
All right, I admit it. Most normal people will just use the services or at home overnight when electricity is cheaper. The point is nowadays, there are plenty of places to plug in, and with chargers getting faster, topping up can be a matter of minutes, not hours. Once upon a time, petrol power was the future, but whether you like it or not, it's probably had its heyday. The UK has brought forward its intention to ban all new combustion cars to 2035. Yes, EVs are still in the minority, but not for long. In the next 2 years, there will be more than 1 million on UK roads. By 2030, that number will rise to a massive 11 million.
Sooner or later, oil companies will catch on and start building fast chargers in forecourts. And when that happens, cars like the Leaf will take off.
Right then, let's talk about V12 GT cars. Specifically these two, the Ferrari 812 Superfast and the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera. Two exotic coupes for crossing continents in style and at speed. Both have 6-litre V12s. One has just over 700 horsepower, the other has 800. But who does it better, Italy or Britain? Super fast or Superleggera? To find out, we're going on a road trip from the Aston's home turf outside this English manor house to Ferrari country, where apparently Paul has booked us a lovely little Italian villa.
Right, off on a trip in an Aston Martin DBS Superleggera with a 5.2-litre turbocharged V12 under the bonnet, kicking out 725 horsepower. It'll launch to 62 in just 3.4 seconds, not quite as quick as that Ferrari behind me. And it's got a top speed of 211 miles an hour, which amazingly and almost unbelievably is exactly the same as the top speed of the Ferrari.
The Ferrari 812 Superfast, perhaps the most apt name of any car ever made. If there was ever a car that did exactly what it said on the badge, then this is it. But I can't help thinking that maybe it should be called ridiculously fast or obscenely fast, because that's what this thing is.
Aston Martin are currently going through an exciting period of change with all sorts of new designs coming out of their gated base. There's the Valkyrie hypercar, then there's the Valhalla, and possibly even a new Vanquish. Then there's the new DBX, Aston Martin's first attempt at an SUV. But this is what I think Aston do best, producing incredibly good-looking, incredibly powerful, long-distance grand tourers.
The 812 replaces the Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, and I can't help thinking that no driver ever said 740 horsepower just wasn't enough. But Ferrari is still obliged anyway, and they've given us the 812 with a mouth-watering 800 horsepower. What's more, unlike the DBS, this 6.5-litre V12 is naturally aspirated, which means the moment you put your right foot down, the car just absolutely rockets you forward. The acceleration, it's addictive. Honestly, it's addictive. I can't stop.
Of course, this new DBS sees the return of the famous Superleggera model that was used on the DB4, DB5 and DB6 cars way back in the 1960s. Superleggera means super light, but it's not really that light, turning the scales at 1693 kilograms. It's actually 63 kilograms heavier than that Ferrari.
Meanwhile, back in the Ferrari Slim Fast.
It's funny that this is labelled as a GT because it feels much more like a sports car, like a supercar, even like a hypercar. I love the view. You've just got this big rev counter right in front of you, showing you, if you dare, that you can go up to 9,000 revs. And it's a good driving position. You've got these big wings either side of you, almost guiding you on your way. The seat's very comfortable. These are the optional extra sports seats with no massaging, no heated seats, nothing like that. They're stripped out, of course, to keep the weight down. Unlike Tiff, no doubt being smug about all of his gizmos in the DBS.
I'm not quite sure about some of these haptic buttons, little presses for heat seaters and heat coolers. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan of these knurled knobs. When you change the steering wheel when you're parking, you can suddenly put the volume of the radio up very easily, which is a bit annoying. But there's hardly anything else. There's little things always that you get a bit annoyed by, and then you think, Tiff, you shouldn't be annoyed. You're sitting in £250,000 of luxury, cruising towards Italy. Amazing machines.
After our gentle meander through the English countryside, we decided to go somewhere a little less leafy, where our GTs could really stretch their legs.
Of course, Paul wants his drag race, mainly because he's sitting in the Ferrari at the moment, which has 75 more horsepower and gets to 62 nearly half a second quicker. But then, you know, in the real world, I think if I could just warm my tyres up a bit.
The thing is, with a drag race, you don't need to mess around with launch control and turn the traction control off. Just let the car do the work for you. I'm going to keep it in sport mode.
What are you doing?
Well, warming my tyres up, obviously.
You don't think you're going to win that easily, do you?
He's going to be so keen to win this race.
Right, got a bit of track mode on, that might sort it. Not full traction control, half. He's relying on his super traction control to work perfectly.
Here we go.
Quick reaction.
Good start. Oh, I've got a very bad start and I'm lighting up.
I've got him. I've got him off the line.
No, this is in the script. Oh, he's coming back. Here we go. Absolute monstrous. No! Absolutely smacked him to oblivion.
No, even my brilliant racing driver's reactions to the start line.
You know as well as I know, the only reason that got off the start quicker is because you gave me the wet line and the gravel line.
You still won your race for your Ferrari. Never happy.
So, after a decisive win for the Ferrari, it was time to get back on the road.
Paul, look, I know you'll be smiling about winning a drag race, but remember it wasn't you that won it, it was the Ferrari. So, okay, you can stop crowing about it. Anyway, what was this all about going to Italy? Can we go now?
As we speared onwards towards Italy, it was time to reminisce about an age-old rivalry.
But of course, today's battle between this Aston Martin Superleggera and that Ferrari Superfast in my mirror is just the latest in the long history of Aston Martin versus Ferrari. They both came together racing at Le Mans when, of course, Aston Martin famously won the Le Mans 24-hour race back in 1959, finishing first and second, and behind them were the Ferraris in third, fourth, I think even fifth as well. The battle rages on and on.
The 812 is on the limit of what a GT car is all about. It's more hardcore, more noise, shorter gear ratios. It's prioritised pace, performance and driving thrills over continental cruising. But in a world where there's so many straight-laced GTs out there, I'm so happy that there's room for something just completely bonkers and completely unhinged, such as this, the 812. And there's no question, it is one of the most incredible cars I've ever had the pleasure to drive.
With the sun lowering in the sky, we continued to bond with our GTs. But I was beginning to wonder if I'd gotten the wrong end of the stick.
I think this is it.
Welcome to the Italian villa.
So we're not actually going to Italy, are we?
Well, I didn't ever say we're going to Italy.
You
I
did,
said
you
we're going
implied
on a
it.
road trip to an Italian villa, and here we are And what a road trip. What a pair of cars.
The thing is, because they're both brilliant, brilliant cars, that had we actually gone all the way to Italy, I think this Aston Martin is the better long-distance cruiser, more comfortable.
Well, I'm not going to argue. It's probably the ultimate GT comfortable cruiser. But, Tiff, look at this Italian flair and passion.
No, I'm going to upset you even more. Because when I look at the two, because I also think the Aston Martin's a better-looking car.
But the thing is, I'm not going to disagree. Following that was amazing. That big, chunky rear end, it looks absolutely fantastic. However, you've got to be a brave man to bet against this. More people looking at this, got far more attention.
Just because you beat me in a drag race, you've been attracted by the Italian stallion. You've been blinded by the love of a Ferrari.
I tell you what I've been blinded by is this engine. My goodness, the revs, the noise, and that engine has to be the best V12 ever,
Cruising
surely.
down a motorway, that extra 75 horsepower doesn't make any difference at all.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Fantastic car, and it suits your personality very well, and I think this
I agree. I agree.
suits my personality.
You can have the Italian car with an English name, and I'll have the English car with an Italian name.
Perfect, let's get a coffee.
Cappuccino time.
Espresso for
Are you
me.
an espresso man?
Yeah.
Well, this time of the day.
Well, you know, it's
Too early.